فرخنده باد روز جهانی زن به تمام زنان و مردانی که پشتیبان زنان هستن برای گرفتن حقوق مدنیشون.
Good afternoon and salam. Today, March 4th, 2018, I'm congratulating all of us on Happy International Women's Month.
On behalf of the Iranian Circle of Women's Intercultural Network, ICWIN, I am Vida Ghaffari, and I will be your MC today. We have an exciting, engaging, educating, and empowering program planned for today. I am sure we will all be informed, inspired, and illuminated. To begin, we will be introduced to the hosting group, ICWIN, and the significance of today's celebration, International Women's Day. You know that across the globe this year has been recognized as the Year of the Woman. Women are claiming their time and imagining an equal future by being more present, more vocal, brave, and bold for change. So that is exactly the theme of this event. Also this year, the UN has focused on girls and young women ages 15 to 40 because they are the present and the future, and it is important that they carry the torch that has been lit by women before them. Every year, the UN Council sets a theme for International Women's Day. This year, the organizers of IWD are asking supporters to press for progress. We have urgent work to do. Are you ready to press for progress this Women's History Month and beyond?
Today, International Women's Day is an official holiday in 24 countries for everyone, and in 4 countries only for women. In some countries, it's customary that men give flowers to the women in their lives, mothers, wives, daughters, and friends. This year, International Women's Day comes on the heels of unprecedented global movement for women's rights, equality, and justice. This has taken form the global marches, campaigns, individual resistance of women, including #MeToo movement and #TimesUp movement in United States and their counterparts in other countries, as well as the brave Iranian younger woman who is standing against compulsory hijab in different cities of Iran. International Women's Day is a time to reflect on progress made, to call for change, and to celebrate acts of courage and determination by ordinary women who have played an extraordinary role in the history of their communities and countries. We are celebrating the brave Iranian women who are standing against compulsory hijab in Iran. We are celebrating the persistence of women in US in claiming and reclaiming our time. We are celebrating the indigenous people in South Dakota. We are celebrating the Black Lives Matters. We are celebrating the women in Rwanda. In their country leads the world share of women in national legislature, with women holding 64% of the seats of the lower house, the largest share of any country. For comparison, only 19% of the seats in US House are held by women. We are celebrating female negotiators and civil society members who played a critical role in making peace accord possible in Colombia this year. We are celebrating Nadia Murad, who was among the more than 5,000 Yazidi women who was captured by ISIS and repeatedly abused and raped. She was tortured for over 3 months before successfully escaping refugee camp, and she is now a human rights defender. We are celebrating Leshia events and Black Lives Matter. She stood in billowing dress as armed policemen charged towards her in Louisiana. She became an iconic symbol of peaceful, defiant protest. We are celebrating countless and nameless unsung heroes who are working tirelessly for peace, as gender equality will not be achieved without sustainable peace. We are celebrating women and men who are standing against gender discrimination, sexual assault, domestic violence, and all human rights violations women experience and endure, as one is too many. Thank you for being here, and happy International Women's Day.
Miha, abaha, Nishun Achama. No Tokod Tongba. Netwain Pesagasun Havut. Hello and welcome. My name is Gloria Arianas. My traditional native name in ceremony is Spirit Blanket, and I am Tongva. I'm an elder of the land. The land you are on right now is Tongva, and all of the Los Angeles Basin for the Channel Islands, parts of Orange, San Bernardino, and Riverside County were our Tongva land. We don't give up our lands. It may be built on and developed and owned by other people, but it's still our land. I remind people every day that you drive upon Tongva land, you walk upon Tongva land, you go to work on Tongva land, you probably live in Tongva land, and all the homes and buildings here, all the concrete is built upon our villages and our burial grounds. And I was very honored, as I am honored to be here today. This is very important for me to do. We need to build bridges amongst ourselves with the diversity within Los Angeles. There's so much diversity in Los Angeles. And I feel it's important to connect with all the different groups that are here. And you have to excuse me, I walk a little slow these days. And today I'm 72 years old. Yay, that's an accomplishment. So today, I'm a little broken body-wise, but I still got, and nobody can keep me down.
I hope you already had a chance to visit the wonderful gallery here that has been curated by Mrs. Shala Seper Bibi. She is one of the members of the ICWIN steering committee and a talented artist in her own right. Please, let's welcome Miss Shala Bibi, Nora Gabai, Mojde Qasemzadeh, Shahla Karami, Farnaz Mir Aferin, Mojan Mozaffari, and last but certainly not least, Fahime Shamsapur. What a lovely group of amazing artists. So honored to have you all here. Thank you so much.
We shouldn't lose hope. And I know this is a mixed and diverse crowd, but I'm going to take a few minutes and just talk to the Iranian community that has nurtured me and that I care for so much. People always say, why should we care? And we have to realize that we are immigrants in this country and we are people of color. I know that there's a lot of dialogue about whether the government categorizes us as white. The reality is that our experiences in this country are as immigrants and as people of color. Talk to your children and the experiences they have when they go to school. And so recognizing who we are and embracing it, I think is the first step. We are numerous. We have a lot of power. I think some of our panelists will talk to you about the importance of recognizing the power that we have in this country, right? But yet the social and political climate particularly impacts us. Every time there's something going on with Iran, there is a law that discriminates against us, right? So we have to use that political power base that we have to protect ourselves from that and not just respond every time that the government wants to pass another policy that impacts us. I think that we also must realize that we are here because we are allowed to be here and enjoy the rights that we enjoy because other people paved the way for us. Other people are still in the front lines, and some of us are there, right? A lot of people in this room, I feel like I'm preaching to the choir because I've seen you at some of these gatherings. But there are people who are fighting for our right to be here, right? We stand on the shoulders of people who fought in the civil rights movement, the indigenous people who are still fighting for the freedom that was taken from them, but they are still here and they're showing us the path of how we cannot be erased, right? So really recognizing that. So my call to action isn't just around showing up and responding to these negative, oppression moments by the state, right? It's really, I have two quotes by two people that are really beloved by me and most of us, right? And one is a Rumi quote. Do you know what you are? You are a manuscript of a divine letter. You are a mirror reflecting a noble face. This universe is not outside of you. Look inside yourself. Everything that you want, you are already that. And so take this to heart as you think about what you heard here today, the purpose of our gathering here, and what you'll hear from the other panelists, and recognize that these problems that we see are not insurmountable. We have the answers within us. And this is my beloved Baldwin. Freedom is not something that anybody can be given. Freedom is something people take, and people are as free as they want to be. Most of us came to this country expecting that freedom would be given to us, not recognizing that it is for us to take that freedom. So I hope you take some time and you think about these words. I hope that my story was helpful in figuring out your path. And I'm here if you want to talk further. And I thank you for having me.
I'd like to start off with just kind of asking the panel what their process in getting active has been, and what motivated you to take position in what you do now to run for office. So,
hi, I'm Rachel, and the process of running for Congress was actually very organic, and it took a while for me to arrive at the point where I realized that the place where I could have the greatest impact in my community was at that level. I actually started in the resistance. I was, attending as many rallies and protests as I could, signing petitions, donating funds. I even helped set up a new Democratic club in what was traditionally a very conservative area, and it still wasn't enough. And I got to that point where I realized it's upon all of us to do everything in our full capacity to make a difference, because so many people are under attack. And that's when I finally realized the very best thing I could do is replace Dana Rohrabacher in the 48th.
So for me, it was the travel ban. I was working in Congress for a senator at the time, and I can remember the night the travel ban was issued. I can remember talking to my mother that night, talking to my father that night, thinking that had that travel ban been in place, they would not have been able to come to this country. When they've contributed so much to this country, they've done so much for Orange County. You think of all the people in this room who are Iranian, the idea that the President of the United States would say, you can't come to this country because you're Iranian, has nothing to do with doctor, lawyer, engineer, Muslim, Jewish, Zoroastrian, whatever. He would have said, you're not good enough just for the sheer fact that you're Iranian. And to me, that was a demonstration of what kind of president this was going to be, what kind of administration this was going to be, and why it's so critical that we do whatever we can to oppose it. But also the idea that as Iranian Americans, we are one of the most successful minority groups of period, or immigrant groups, and we have absolutely no political representation at the federal level. The idea that we've never had a member of Congress, that's something that we need to change, and that's what I want to try to do.
And Farah.
Yeah.
So for me, basically, I started out volunteering for different campaigns locally. When my kids were little, they would be in strollers as I walked and knocked on doors and made phone calls, held events for other people. But looking at our city in Irvine, where almost 50% of the population is a diverse community of immigrants, we have no representation on our city council. And then we look at our city council members, and there are no representation of people with families, with young children, when almost 80% of our population is young families. And so for me, it became a time where, as I was helping others get elected, every time that I thought that I might step up, I was told it wasn't my time, that I needed to wait my turn. And it wasn't until a few strong women came up to me and said, your time is when you make it. You don't let other people tell you when it's your time. And so in 2016, I put my name on the ballot, and I ran. And as someone with no name recognition, out of 11 candidates, came in fourth. And so I'm going to run again in 2018 for the win.
And just so you know, Mona is our youngest, the youngest member of our panel, so she is not running for office yet.
So I think I first got inspired to get involved politically when I realized that I don't necessarily need to be in a place of power to have an impact. I think a pretty major misconception is that you need to be an elected official to be effective in your community. And I realized that True power comes in inspiring people on your college campus, high school campus, your friends, your family, and giving them the tools to get involved in their community is really where you can be effective. And I mean, so much of the older generation always tells younger kids that they don't have a place in the political process, to wait their turn, that it isn't, leave it to the adults. And then I think finally I just realized that this isn't about them. This isn't about their preconceived notions of college kids. It's about the people whose healthcare is being threatened, the people who run the risk of getting thrown out of this country, or those who go hungry because they can't afford a meal. You know, we're doing this for them. So I was inspired to do what I could to help those people.
من شدم رودخونه دلم یه موج تو
Together, we are strong. We can change it.
Together, we are powerful. We will change it. Hand on hand, we can create a new world.
The only thing constant is change. We will create an equal future.
The 3 C's in life: choices, chance, and change.
You must
Make a choice to take a chance, or your life will never change.
We went from around 4,000 women running for public office to 34,000. Yeah. It's a record we've never seen. But it's not enough to run. We need to vote for women. We need to fund women. And we also need to make sure that we have a greater diversity of voices being heard. So I would say it's more critical than ever to not let these seeming divisions divide us, and instead to remember what we have in common, where we are aligned, and to remember that every one of us has power in our respective spheres, and that together we can stand stronger.